In today's Polkadot crypto update video, I'll be talking about the latest news from ChainX, and then I'll do a quick comparison with regards to exchange listings. Where could ChainX get listed next based on Phala network and Darwinia? Because all of these are kind of similar. They're basically trying to get a parachain slot on Kusama kind of at the same time, and also on Polkadot, following the exact same model. Now then, I'll also be talking a bit about Karura, and I'll kind of do a summary on what they're all about. I know I've spoken about Karura on this channel before, but hey, if you're new here, by the way, my name is Claudio and this is CryptoChain, the channel where I do crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews. So hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well if you enjoyed this video, or dislike if you don't, and leave a comment below telling me what you think. But ChainX have announced that the MXC exchange will support the KSX airdrop. So if we look at this tweet here, it's basically if you participate in the voting of Sherpa X, you get an extra 5% incentive. And you also need to hold PCX on your MXC exchange and the wallet to win the KSX airdrop. Just keep in mind that you cannot have orders set, because if you have an order set to sell PCX, for example, when this happens, then you're not going to qualify because it's not really in your balance. You're basically sending that order through because you want to sell PCX, right? So you need to make sure they're available. And again, I don't recommend holding any tokens or coins on exchanges. You should always have them in your own wallet to be in the possession of these tokens, because if the exchange gets hacked, what will you do then? But anyway, for those that really want to hold them on the exchange and are happy to do so, you get an extra incentive if you participate in the voting of Sherpa X, right? So that's very good. And also, if you participate in the Twitter activities, you can also win PCX and KSX. So ChainX have been lately doing a lot of marketing campaign just with the Sherpa X upcoming parachain auction, you know, just to try and get attention and get people to vote pretty much, right, using their KSM, because they will need to lock that KSM for up to 2 years if they want to participate in this parachain auction for a Sherpa X, and also for anything else that's going to partake in those parachain auctions. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and actually the price has been doing pretty well since that announcement, because it was struggling. Like when Bitcoin took a plunge to like 30K, ChainX dropped to like 550, 560. So as soon as we got that announcement, like within a couple of hours, the price pretty much took off, right? And it just shows you like the lack of liquidity. So many people are staking PCX now that the price is just doing really well. So hopefully we'll see $8 again pretty soon. But the other thing I wanted to talk about in this video is with regards to exchange listings. So we have Phala network here, which I've done a review of before on my channel, which is the privacy network on Polkadot. They are on Ethereum at the moment, so they haven't built on Rococo. You can't use the Polkadot.js wallet to store your Phala. No, you need an Ethereum wallet for that, like for example MetaMask. But for example, if we look here at the exchange listings, they're listed on Huobi, right? So Huobi Global is a bit of a hype. They're saying that they're supporting the Polkadot ecosystem, right? And if you're a sponsor of, like, say, if you're part of a Polkadot project sponsor, you can actually submit 2 different tokens or coins to get listed on Huobi. So that's part of their plan, part of their marketing campaign, so to speak, right? To get people on Huobi, especially bigger companies. So Phala network are on Huobi, as we can see here. Darwinia, which is another one building on the Polkadot ecosystem, and also on Kusama, are also on Huobi. But ChainX are the only ones that are not on Huobi yet. So what's it to say that ChainX is not going to get listed on Huobi, right? They will get listed. I'm pretty certain about that. It's going to happen this year, probably even in this quarter. But again, don't take my word for it. This is just my assumption here based on what's going on with the let's say cousin networks, right? Because all of these networks are going to try and launch that parachain in the first batch, right? So ChainX, Phala network, and Darwinia, so they all have something similar. They share some similar goal, right? And they're going to work together at the end of the day. And especially ChainX with Phala network, they need to supply that XBTC. So yeah, I mean, it just shows you here that there's a very likelihood chance that we're going to get the Huobi listing for ChainX. But let's talk a bit about Karura here, and this is Phala's DeFi parachain on Kusama, which should happen. I know this article is a bit older, but it's just to kind of summarize what Karura is all about, because some people don't know what is Karura. So now the origin of the name Karura comes from a divine creature in Japanese, stemming from a race of gigantic birds in Hinduism. According to Japanese mythology, the Karura is said to be an enormous fire-breathing bird, which aligns with the Karura network's bold and powerful intentions. So let's look a little bit about Karura here. So Karura are pretty much the main DeFi network, or what they'll be trying to do is launch the main DeFi network onto Kusama. So the same as Akala network are doing for Polkadot, they're going to do this for Kusama. Now, what's cool about Karura here? So you're going to find out something really interesting that I didn't know that you're going to do this, right? Now, staking derivative, LKSM, liquid KSM to release liquidity from staked KSM for DeFi use cases. So basically, when you're staking KSM, you will be able to, as long as you stake KSM, you'll be able to release liquidity from that staked KSM for DeFi use cases. So that's cool because you can generate LKSM for that. So anybody who's taking KSM can generate LKSM. Now, we don't know exactly how it's going to work in terms of the feature on the DApp, but I will be trying to do a tutorial on that when we get to it and when it'll go live. Now, you can earn yield and interest. You can trade on decentralized exchange, and I'm assuming they're referring to Laminar here. I've done a tutorial on Laminar and how it works and how you can actually transfer funds from Akala Mandala, from the DApp, onto Laminar. So I think it's going to be exactly the same with Karura here. On-chain governance, of course, as we've seen with all Polkadot related projects, you can vote and you can propose changes and so on. Or you can contribute with articles. On-chain treasury, of course, native Oracle price feed, because you need to have the Oracle price feed to keep the price up to date. Now, let's look at this here. So trustless staking derivatives will allow users who are staking KSM to be able to issue LKSM, which can be used in any of the DeFi applications mentioned above or elsewhere in the cross-chain ecosystem. You'll be able to unlock cross-chain liquidity, so users will be able to bring Bitcoin and Ethereum into Karura through bridging solutions, and here is where ChainX comes into play, and pay fees in those wrapped tokens. This removes the need on legacy networks to pay fees in the network's native token, of course, because it's going to be much cheaper to transfer funds within the Polkadot ecosystem. They only cost cents, right? They're like 5 or 6 cents at the moment with most of the coins on the Polkadot ecosystem. No more requirement to use the network's native token for fees. And the big one here, which I'm sure you'll all be bullish on, is no more unbonding period. Because at the moment with Kusama, if you're staking to a validator and you want to unstake to be able to sell that Kusama, you need to wait 7 days. Well, with Karura, you'll no longer have to do that. It's straight up. So just as Akala will do with the same on Polkadot. So Akala and Karura will have no bonding period no unbonding period when you want to unstake from the validator. So that's very good. But again, what's the disadvantage of that? Well, at the end of the day, if the price pumps, you're gonna have people unbonding, selling, and then waiting for the dip, buying back in, that kind of movement. Because at the moment you can't really do that with the 7-day wait. If the price was to pump 10x, even if you are to unstake in 7 days, many things could happen in the crypto space, right? So the price could dump back down. You'll be like, oh geez, why did I unstake so early, So yeah, these things can happen. So with the unbonding, it's going to be more volatile in that sense, right? Because people can do what they want. Now, the latest technology releases, being the bold and risk-taking sister network of Akala, tech releases will always go to Karura first, so the same as with Kusama before Polkadot. And Karura users will always be getting the latest tech in their hands from the Karura and Akala ecosystem, and the same will happen with ChainX before ChainX. Now, they're basically just talking about how they're going to be developing on Karura and so on here. So what's next for Karura? They'll be launching a crowd loan on Kusama in the near future. This process will be carried out using Kusama's native token KSM, and in order to gather KSM holders support to bond for the parachain slot via an auction on Kusama's network. And just one thing to keep in mind here, and I'm just going to reiterate this, I've mentioned this in an older video, but I'll just mention it again in case you're new to my channel and you don't know about this. Basically, when you take part in the parachain auction, and you stake, not stake, but when you bond that KSM, you lock it up for up to 2 years, because let's say you want to help Karura bond for 2 years, right? Because that's what they're going to try and do. So if they bond for 2 years, you need to lock your Kusama for 2 years. But when you get Karura as a reward, the KEOR token, you're not going to get everything you're entitled to get from the end of that auction. You're going to get it delivered to you in batches, or unlocked to you, to your wallet, basically. So we don't know the exact structure yet. I know that they've had an AMA, not an AMA, they had like a video interview yesterday. I've missed that one, unfortunately, but I think they might have spoken about it there. So if I get any more info, I'll probably talk about it in a future video. But yeah, you're going to get that Karura released to you in batches. And this is not just for Karura, but also for other parachain auctions. So it's going to be the same with ChainX. You're not going to get all of your KSX at once. the same for Phala, the same for other parachain auctions. So just something to keep in mind here, that you should not expect to be able to dump these tokens as soon as the parachain auction ends, and then knowing that in 2 years time you're going to get your KSM back anyway. So yeah, it's not the case here. But as we can see, the price of KSM has gone up the roof, has pumped quite a lot, because people are anticipating that there's going to be a lot of hype for these parachain auctions. So they want to get in that KSM cheap to be able to accumulate more Karura, more Phala, more Sherpa X, and so on. So yeah, this is it from today's video. There isn't anything else to add. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you bullish on what's to come with the parachain auctions? Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.